piece, I want to talk about expats. Now, the UK has always been a safe haven, a safe place to invest your money. Now, that, of course, also goes for foreign investors that want to buy property in the UK. The regulatory framework in the UK is obviously it's high, it's solid, it protects you as a consumer relative to other countries. So it's not unsurprising as an expat, depending on what country you're in, you might think that you know the UK, you know the high level of due diligence that's done there, the anti-money laundering rules, anti-terrorist rules, that you want to put your money back in the UK. There's great capital growth in the UK. Historically, I believe 7.9% is the average annual capital growth, never mind the return on cash investment you might get. So it's an exciting place to invest back in the UK. So as an expat, if you're earning some good money out there, but you're wanting to invest back in the UK, then as mortgage brokers that specialize in this area, we get regular inquiries and clients who live, whether it be in the Middle East, Dubai, Far East, Hong Kong, that want to then invest back in the UK. But here's the challenge. The lending and lenders have really mixed appetite. So you do really need to speak to a specialist broker who's going to help you navigate through those uncertainties to get you to that mortgage at the other end. Now, there's two scenarios here I want to paint. First one is, well, what about those expats that are now, they've done their time, they've had the great lifestyle out, wherever it happens to be, but now they feel it's time to come back to the UK. And you want to get a mortgage pretty much straight away. Well, the highest bar is set by those lenders that say, well, yeah, we'll be interested in you, but after 3 years, you've got to be back in the UK because they want you to build up a credit profile. That's the challenge for lenders in the UK, that once you're abroad, your UK credit footprint pretty much stagnates. And the due diligence a bank can do on you is quite minimal. And that's why you get this mixed appetite from banks, whether they want to lend or don't want to lend. Once you're back in the UK, you start to build up your credit profile again. There's more and more data the banks can look at to take a view on whether you're a high risk, low risk, and whether they're prepared to lend to you. So that's why you get some banks saying you've got to be back in the UK for 1, 2, or even 3 years. Now, as a specialist broker, I know that there's lenders out there that will say, the day you step foot in the UK, day one, you would be eligible for a mortgage. So that's why, just as one example, it's important to speak to a specialist broker who can knock on the right door, get it right first time for you, and you're not wasting time or money with the wrong lender. The second, and probably the more common scenario that we get as an inquiry, are those expats that are still out abroad but want to then put their money back into the UK into some form of investment property. And again, there can be quite a high bar set by certain lenders. And to give you one example, there's quite a few lenders out there that say, well, yeah, you can apply to us so long as you work abroad for a multinational company, a blue chip firm. Now, to me, I imagine that is quite a niche and a minority of people working abroad. And therefore, if you knock on the wrong doors, you're going to find yourself declined. You're going to find yourself disillusioned. You're going to waste time. If there's a property you want to buy, you might end up losing it. So again, speaking to a specialist broker, they will get it right first time and just hold your hand to ensure that you get that mortgage and get that set of keys and that right investment at the first time of asking. If we get an inquiry, for example, where the person is not only not working for a blue chip company, they're self-employed, and let's say they've got quote unquote modest profits, interpret that as you will. They've never bought in the UK before. They're a first-time landlord. They're a first-time buyer. That's a low bar. And yet we'd still be saying, yeah, absolutely. Come on, let's have a chat. And we should be able to find a lender that's going to help you out and get you on the property ladder back in the UK. The final thing I want to say is lenders will look at the country that you're in at the moment. And there are certain countries that are on a blacklist, and there are certain countries that are on a grey list. And so lenders will look at this list and take a view on whether they will lend to you. Even though the property that is going to be the securities in the UK, it's around the source of funds and the regulatory probity that is in place in that host country that you're happen to live in. So again, really quickly, in the first conversation that we're having, our clients will say, okay, I'm in this country, and we'll be able to say really quickly whether lenders will have appetite to lend to you or not. So, it may not be the answer you want, but at least straight away whether this is an inquiry that's got legs and it's going to go anywhere. So the takeaway message, I guess, is preparation planning is important. Starts engaging with a broker at the earliest opportunity, so you get your ducks lined up, so that when it comes to you putting an offer in on a property, there's no messing about. We already know the lender. You've already got all the figures from your broker. It makes good sense. You know the financial cost. You know the return, and you can make some decisions with certainty. And if you want to speak to us a little bit more about that, there'll be a link at the end of this piece. Have a no obligation chat with the team. Pose all your questions, and we'll hopefully give you all the information you need to make that decision.